Hey future York students!
I'm Sidel.
And I'm Neetha.
And welcome to the Faculty of Liberal Arts and Professional Studies Program Chat Series.
We want you to know that here in LA&PS, you will study what you love and learn what you need.
In this chat, you'll be hearing from future professors as well as current students about the program.
What it has to offer you, like internship opportunities.
And what your first year in the program may look like.
Alright, should we get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
Enjoy, everybody.
Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you once again to one of our Liberal Arts and Professional Studies program chats. Today, we're going to talk about by far one of our most popular programs here in the faculty, our program in Law and Society. Before we get started, though, I do want to take a quick moment to talk a little bit about the land that York University is located on. So this meeting is virtual, and because of that, we are not all actually gathered in the same space. York's land acknowledgement might not represent the territory that you are currently on. And I would ask that if that is the case, that you each take the responsibility to acknowledge the traditional territory you're on and its current treaty holders. As a member of the York University community, I recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with the territories upon which York University campuses are located that precede the establishment of York University. York University acknowledges its presence on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. The area known as Takaranto has been taken care of by the Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Huron-Wendat, and the Métis. It is now home to many Indigenous peoples. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This territory is subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. Now I'd like to introduce a very special guest we have with us today from our Law and Society Department, Professor Barras. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. And it's a pleasure to be here. So I wanted to speak to you about our program today, and I will, to do that, I will share a PowerPoint slide. Okay, yeah, so hi everyone again. So I'm here to speak about the Law and Society program, and I'm the coordinator of the program. So that means that I coordinate the work with students and faculty in the program. And so our Law and Society program is a really interesting undergraduate program because it's an interdisciplinary honors program. Which means that it touches on many disciplines. So not only sociology, but anthropology, law, geography. So it really looks at the questions of law and society from different angles. And that's why we say it's interdisciplinary. And what we're interested in is thinking about how law is situated in a broader social and cultural context. And another interesting fact about our program is that it's one of the oldest and largest in North America. So it's almost 30 years old, and it has approximately 900 students that are majoring in the program. So it's quite a big program for a faculty. The other interesting bits, I think, and you can see this on our website, so I really invite you to go and to our website and see our faculty members. Our faculty, so our professors, they come from a range of disciplines. So they're not only lawyers, some of them have a law background, but others have a history, philosophy, sociological background. So for instance, myself, I have a political science background, but then did more studies in religious studies and in gender studies. So you know, the faculty is interdisciplinary and the program is interdisciplinary. So what are the program's objectives? So there's a few, and I think one of the biggest objectives of the program is that we want you to understand the ways in which societies shape law and the ways in which law shapes society. So we want you, when you're finished with the program, to really understand the relationship between law and society. So law is not something, we don't see law as something that stands alone or outside of society, but it's actually influenced by society. So it's going to take different shapes in different societies and in different cultures. And this is what we study in our program. And so you'll be studying that by taking different courses. So our introductory courses will look at these questions in an introductory manner, and then you can in your third year and fourth year take more specific courses with respect to issues that you're interested in. So for instance, if you're interested in questions of race and law, we have a fourth year seminar on that. If you're interested in questions on Indigenous questions in law, there's also a seminar on that. So our fourth and third year classes are more specialized, and they look at these questions of law and society with a specific lens. So it could be a gender lens, a race lens, a religious lens. And really the other objective of the program, as I mentioned earlier, is for you to come out of the program with an interdisciplinary approach to law, and to think about how law is embedded in your everyday life. And make those connections. So really in our class, we try to make the connections between your everyday life and law, and think about how that appears in your life. The other objective is that through the assignments that you'll have to do with your professors and the readings, you're learning how to develop critical thinking skills, research skills, communication skills, and problem solving skills. And these skills are skills that then you'll be able to use in your future jobs, or if you end up doing graduate studies or going to law schools as well. So they're actually really important skills to have and to learn, and you're going to really build them throughout our degree. And you're also going to build in your courses an ability to start trying to debate and persuade others of your ideas, and public speaking as well. So these are all the skills that are built in the program. And after your 4 years with us, you should have you should master them quite well. So the question that I often get from students is, what can you do with a law and society degree? And that's a really good question. And of course, for many students, getting into law and society or doing our program is the first step into law school. And it's true, many students do end up going to law school, but not everyone. So law school is an option. But many students also end up doing graduate school in social science, humanity, public policy, political science. So they try to specialize themselves in one of those areas. Some students decide to acquire more qualification to become legal assistants, to work in conflict mediation, or work in the administrations of courts and tribunals. And these qualifications are offered by colleges. And other students decide to go into journalism, education, social justice. So that's to say that this law and society degree is actually a degree that allows you or gives you a lot of options. And it's not a degree in law, it's really thinking about law through a social science lens. And this opens you the door to a lot of fields in social sciences and outside, and the door to many different career paths, which I think is great, because that means that you don't have to choose now, but you have like 4 years to choose, and then you can think about it even after that. So, but there's a lot of opportunities afterwards with our degree. So then I guess the question is, what is expected of you when you'll be in our program? And these past years with the pandemic, things have been a bit more different because most of the classes have been online. We're getting back in person slowly, and hopefully when you'll be in our program, you'll be in person. We'll always offer, I think, some 1 or 2 classes online though, but most of them will be in person. So we really expect, when you come in as an undergraduate student, we expect that you attend class, of course. And the difference with high school is that we're really relying on independent learning, which means that it's up to you. You go to your class, it's 2 hours, 3 hours, and then you have to read on your own, do the assignments on your own, and you're really required to do that independent work to be able to fully enjoy and your learning experience. You also have to be knowledgeable about the degree requirement. And I think this is really important, might be more important when you get in the program, but I'll just raise it now here, that the Law and Society degree is an honor degree. And this means that it's a 4-year degree. It's 120 credits. So we don't offer a BA credit of 3 years. And so it's only a 4-year program. And the honor degree means that you have to keep throughout your studies a GPA of 5.0. So that means an average of C+. And if you're unable to keep it, you cannot stay in the program. So that's a requirement that you need to be aware of when you're selecting your courses, when you're thinking about designing your semesters, the number of courses you're going to take, to be able to keep that requirement and keep up with the work in the program. There's also a lot of resources available at York for you when you're doing your degree and before your degree to think about your options. So we have a great writing center and I always send my students to the writing center because they really help you with structuring a paper, with writing. The library and librarians are very helpful as well because they will help you with research for your papers. And then you have academic advisors. And we have a new academic advisor in the program called Natalie Di Lorenzo, and she looks after students in the social science, in the Law and Society program. So she will be of a great help to you. So there's many resources available to you throughout your degree to help you succeed. But one of your responsibilities is to know those resources and to be able to use them fully. And maybe as a final point, I also wanted to draw your attention to a few resources that are available at York and that are linked to our program. So there's a Law and Society Association, and this is an association of students. You can go on our website, you'll have more information on them. And I think they have a Facebook page and they organize activities. And this is a great way to meet students that are maybe not in your course, but are part of the program and that have similar interests to you. Then we have Law and Society Student Awards. So we have a series of awards that start, I think, in 2nd year and that go until 4th year that you can depending, they're mainly based on merit. So if you succeed well in the program, you would be eligible for those awards. And these awards are quite prestigious. And you can go and have more and see, I've put the link there and you have more information on that. And finally, I guess I wanted to just draw your attention to this podcast called Life of the Law. I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but this is a really interesting podcast and well done podcast where they look at how law affects the everyday life of people through different stories. And in a nutshell, this is what we try to do in our program. We try to draw examples from real life and think about how they relate to law. So this podcast would be a really good introduction to what we try to do here in the Law and Society program at York. And that's it.
Wow, thank you for that great overview. That was a wonderful look at our Law and Society program. And I was wondering if you might be able to answer some questions we get a lot of the time when we're talking about Law and Society.
Yes, of course.
So one of the things that I think is interesting is the way in which the department and the field of study has sort of evolved in the last 15 years. And I was wondering if you could tell us more about how the program here in liberal arts has expanded when it comes to the study of law and society.
Yeah, so we've been quite lucky because since maybe the last 7 years, the program has expanded in terms of faculty and also in terms of number of students. And that has given, so we've been able to hire new professors that all have different areas of expertise. And I think that has given, that's giving really a shape to our program, a new shape in a sense. So we've, for instance, hired Professor Laura Kroc, who works on questions around law, and race and racism. And she looks mainly at Canada, but that's really interesting and has been a big interest for students because she looks at questions of how around multiculturalism and how law shapes multiculturalism and how questions of race enter in the way we imagine multiculturalism. So her research has been very popular with students, and she's been giving class on her areas of expertise as well as our other classes. So I think by hiring these new faculties, they are also able to give classes on their areas of expertise, and students are really enjoy that. So there's another professor that's been a long-standing member of our program, but that's been doing really interesting research. So Professor Annie Bunting, she's been doing research on international law and international human rights law and questions around war and war crimes and how they relate to questions of law and society. So, and she was able to really direct and lead a big research project. And so through that big research project, she ended up also hiring undergraduate students. So that's an opportunity for students that are interested, is to be able to work with faculties in the research projects they end up doing. And she brings her expertise to class again. So that makes it very tangible to students. So I think, these are only two examples, but we have many others, and students really enjoy the fact that they have specific expertise, and that maybe in some cases they end up being able to work with these professors on their own research projects.
That's really interesting when you talk about the expertise of the professors coming into the classroom. And I was wondering if we could take that in a slightly different direction and talk maybe a little bit about some of the courses that are offered, some of the specific courses that students might get into. Now, obviously, I know every student starts in general courses in the first couple of years, but as they specialize in third and fourth year, what are some of the topics they might expect to find in course titles?
Yeah, so there's many, and again, so that there's many interesting courses, I think. So everyone has to take this second year course called the 2350, and that's a big general course where they'll be introduced to some of the areas that they will then be able to explore more specifically in their third and fourth year classes. So for instance, there's a third year class called legal pluralism, where they're introduced to the notion that law means different things for different people, and to the plurality of law, and they'll explore that through different questions. So, for instance, what are the laws of the diamond industry? How is the diamond industry regulated, and how are those laws actually really maybe what shapes and influence those laws? So legal pluralism looks at these different worlds, if you want, in our society, and there's rules that structure these worlds, and think of law through that lens. So that's one of our courses. We also have a course on popular trials, where the students explore popular trials throughout time. So that's one is also quite a popular course. And in our fourth year courses, we have fourth year honor seminars, and these seminars are really great learning opportunities because they're capped at 25 students. So you only have 25 students, which is quite small for our program, and you have a direct conversation with professors. And so we have one fourth year seminar that's quite popular. It's called Paradoxes of Rights. And that's a seminar that's often actually given by Professor Annie Bunting. And that's about questions of human rights and the paradoxes around questions of human rights. And not only in Canada, which makes that seminar really interesting, but it takes a global perspective. So you look at these questions in different countries. I, for instance, teach a seminar on religion, law, and politics in a global context. And there we look at these questions again in different countries. So we look at how religion is governed in Turkey, in France, and at recent laws. So, for instance, laws that ban women from wearing headscarf to become public servants, for instance. So we look at these different questions and how do these laws, where do they come from? Why are they implemented? And we also have a fourth-year seminar on Indigenous law given by one of our newest faculty as well. So yes, these fourth-year seminars are an opportunity to be in a small class environment, to directly have a conversation with professors and also with your classmates. And I think that's why students enjoy it very much. It's the closest that type of teaching environment. It's very close to what you would get in graduate school, but it's still not the same thing, but it's close to what you would get in graduate school. So.
Yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. And what a great opportunity for our students to take part in those. I do want to, so you mentioned the popular trials course, and I'm sure that is a very popular course because law and trials has become part of our popular culture, and it has increased the interest in studying it, I think, over the last 25 years immeasurably. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the Law and Society program and how it's positioned in sort of the space for preparation for law school, because I think that's what a lot of students look at it as sort of a pre-law program. But I know it's a lot more complex and nuanced than that. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So that's a really good question. I think that a lot of students enter a program thinking that they'll be entering in a pre-law program and that they will be taught doctrinal law, so law on the books. Yeah. But that's not at all the approach of this program. So that it doesn't mean that it's not a good first step to then go to law school, but you're not going to be taught doctrinal law. You're really going to be taught about this connection between law and society. So, and so that's where the social science and the background comes in. And that's why our faculties are not all lawyers. They come from different backgrounds. And so you're going to be thinking about why does a specific law take this shape in Canada, but might take a different shape. So for instance, take religious freedom. Why do we understand religious freedom in a certain way in Canada, but we don't in France? And France is very different. How does this society, the culture, the history of society shapes this understanding? And so so that's what you're going to be taught in this program. And we're going to look at that through a historical lens, through a political lens, through a sociological lens, an anthropological lens. So that means that if you decide to go to law school afterwards, you have a very good sense of how law and society are interconnected. And you'll be ready to then, look at more doctrinal text, but then you have this critical perspective. So you'll bring this critical perspective and this critical insights to your studies in law afterwards. But it also means that it opens the door to other possibilities. You're not obliged to actually, law school is not your only option. There's many other options. And this is great because when you get in after high school, you might not be sure you want to become a lawyer, and that opens you the door to many other options. So there's many of our students, they end up doing graduate studies, and they end up going graduate studies in political science and socio-legal studies at York, in gender studies. And they're really the fourth year classes, I think, play a big role because students are able to see what really is of interest to them. So are you interested by questions of gender? Are you interested by questions of public policy? Then you can go in and do a master's in public policy. So there's really a range of opportunities that you are able to get by doing our degree, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a really unique way that we approach things in a lot of our programs here at York, is that interdisciplinary nature, mixing other fields into the particular programs of study. When you think about York as it positions itself among other universities who offer undergraduate law programs, would you say that's a primary factor that sets us apart, or are there other factors that you feel play into it?
No, I think it does. I think it really does set us apart in the sense that we really approach law from this interdisciplinary perspective. And you'll find this in the social science department in general. Most of the program approach what they study from this interdisciplinary perspective. Mm-hmm. And that makes it unique for students, I think, because you're able to have a sense a bit of, you can get a sense of what anthropology is, of what sociology is, of what political science is, looking at the theme, which is law. So that makes it really interesting. And it's also unique for faculty because my work is, for instance, deeply interdisciplinary. And that's why I think that being at York in the Law and Society program is a very good fit, because I can have conversations with students and with colleagues, and they understand the nature of the interdisciplinarity of my work, but also of the questions I look at.
I would like to invite Professor Barras to come back one more time to offer any closing remarks or pieces of advice to the students who are watching this video.
Yes, so hi again, and really thanks for listening. I imagine that, I guess the advice I can give you is, if you're interested in the program and you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to the undergraduate program officer called Natalie DiLorenzo, or to professors that you might just go on our website, browse it, and you might see, okay, this professor, I'm really interested in what she's doing or what he's doing, and just send them an email and reach out to them, whether it is before you apply or after you apply, when you're in the program. We are always really keen to meet interested students and to have a discussion about what we do with students, and there's also sometimes research opportunities for students that open up when we know students are interested. And the other thing, maybe the last piece of advice, is also don't hesitate to join student associations and student groups. This is a really great way to meet students. First year classes are quite big, and sometimes it might feel a bit intimidating to speak to other students. But if you go in clubs or in groups, it's smaller, it's more intimate, and it's much easier to meet students that are interested in the same thing as you are. And that makes your university experience really unique. So that's it. And I'm happy to meet you in the future. And please don't hesitate to meet me to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed the program chat, everyone.
If you have any questions about our LA&PS programs, be sure to visit our website to learn more.
And make sure to stay in touch with us for a chance to win a $100 gift card to the York Bookstore. The link to our website is in the description box below.
You can also send your questions to us, the LA&PS student recruitment team.
We'd love to hear from you, so send us an email at goyork@yorku.ca.
And we look forward to seeing you all on campus next year.
Bye.
Bye.